at the bottom of the billing, didn't have any lines to speak, and were just indeed what we used to call in Stratford spear carriers, background people. What it's like and why you need to give people like that as much encouragement as possible. Okay, because I feel you people are being somewhat overlooked down here, and the furthest hand that I can see is somebody wearing red. Yes, you! Oh dear. Hang on a minute, darling. We've got a... Oh yes, I can't say darling. We've got a microphone coming.
You got a private joke going there?
I've broken myself up. You ready?
Hello. Mr. Shatner, when you found out...
I will pay a great deal of attention to you after I answer this question.
Both of you, how'd you feel when you found out you were going to work with Mr. Shatner?
Okay. Did you understand the question? Tell me what you said. Because, when I knew I was going to be starring with him, how did I feel? Oh, okay. So, I guess what you're asking is, when I was going to perform in a movie with Patrick, I was handing him the reins, so to speak, but actually, in fact, of Star Trek. Is that the nature of your question?
Well, the nature is, how do you feel about an updated version of Star Trek?
Of giving up?
An updated version of Star Trek.
How did I feel what? Of being. Oh, how did I feel about being? The updated version. His version was the updated version.
Oh.
All right, Patrick, here is the truth. I've lived in Toronto for several years here. I moved from Montreal, came to Toronto, and made my way as a spear carrier to begin with, in radio, television, theater, on to Stratford, then on to New York was the sequence of events. And where was I going with that? I wonder why I introduced that whole subject of being in Toronto. Because I was a spear carrier here, and I made my way stumbling along to Star Trek. I have no idea why I've said that, except that when I had played New York, I played on Broadway, I had starred in some major films, and I had had some notoriety. And I was asked to come and see a pilot film that they had made called Star Trek, starring another actor. And they didn't sell it, but they wanted to make another version, another pilot. So I came back to Los Angeles. I came to Los Angeles, looked at the pilot, thought it was magical. It lacked a little humor, lacked a little lightness. I thought maybe that would, and I suggested that, and other people suggested other things, all put it all together, made another pilot, and it sold. And I had been interested in science fiction prior to that. I had read a lot of science fiction, and I was intrigued by science fiction for the same reasons a lot of us are here, science fiction being an attempt to tell the future, to explain things. Are there UFOs? What is dark matter? Is supposition of landing on the moon, going to Mars, other aliens? The magic of the unknown is what science fiction attempts to explain, and that's what intrigued me and what intrigued me about Star Trek. So, now I remember where I was going. So, I did 3 years of our show in which many of the great names of science fiction wrote stories, not the scripts necessarily, because writing a television script requires a real skill. You have to be aware that there are commercials. You got to have curtains, 7 curtains, so the action comes to an end. But there's a cliffhanger, so you won't go away when the commercial plays. So there's a real form to writing a television script. That it's a honed skill. It's a learned skill. But a lot of those people don't have the imagination of a novelist and a great writer. So a lot of our themes in the original Star Trek were themes suggested by great science fiction writers who then, those ideas were then turned over to the writers who knew how to write the form. So I thought our show, at its best, had some great ideas, great philosophy, and I enjoyed being in the show. When it was over, I thought it was over. And it took 6 or 7 years for Star Trek to come back to have some energy to it. Maybe it was that reason that I thought it was over. We did the movies, and then we did movie 6, and you and I met and had a wonderful time together and rode horses together. And I said, you know, the bridge is yours, and said goodbye. For me, it was like goodbye. And Patrick, I've only caught several glimpses of the next generation, but I've never seen an entire hour. Okay?
That is perfectly reasonable in my book.
I'm so glad because I hesitated to tell you that. I didn't want to hurt your feelings or have you feel differently towards me.
That's not possible, no. You might hurt my feelings, but it wouldn't change my feelings about you.
But do you feel good? Do you feel good towards me? Or do you feel so badly towards me, my acting badly like that would not make any difference? Do you love me?
Everything's all right. Except for one thing. Some 4 minutes ago, I saw the 5-minute sign go up.
What?
Yes,
we haven't started.
I know we haven't started, and we could come back another time, but you and I both have airplanes to catch.